I used to believe love could fix anything. But sometimes, love is what breaks you first. This is the story of the night my forever ended, and how I learned that heartbreak can also heal. He promised me forever, but forever ended that night. The night before our wedding, the world was quiet. Too quiet. Outside, the rain fell like a secret the sky didn't want to keep. Inside, I sat by the window of the small hotel suite, staring at the dress hanging in the corner. Ivory silk, still untouched. I should have felt excitement. Instead, I felt distance. A silence that sat between two people who used to fit perfectly. Daniel had texted hours ago. Running late. Last-minute stuff with the guys. I told myself it was fine. But when midnight passed and the city lights faded into fog, something inside me whispered a truth I wasn't ready to hear. Love shouldn't make you feel alone on the night before forever. I walked to the mirror. The reflection looking back didn't feel like me. I looked like a version of myself built for someone else. The way he liked my hair straight, the lipstick he said made me look soft. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Just 3 words, he's not alone. My stomach twisted. I stared at it for a long time, the screen glowing like a confession in the dark. Even though I tried to tell myself it was a mistake, deep down I already knew the truth. Forever was starting to crack before it even began. I woke to my maid of honor knocking. Soft at first, then harder. Leah, wake up. The stylist's here. For a moment I forgot where I was. Forgot today was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. The sunlight spilled through the curtains, hitting the dress on the door. Perfect, untouched, just like the promises we'd made. I reached for my phone. No message from Daniel. The last one still read, "He's not alone." I searched for excuses. Maybe a prank, maybe one of his friends. But I'd seen that tone before. The quiet cruelty of someone who knows something you don't. Downstairs, the venue was alive, flowers everywhere, laughter, music. I walked through it all in silence, a ghost in my own wedding. He was there, smiling, charming, perfect. When he saw me, his face softened. "You look perfect," he said. But something inside me didn't believe him. The pastor spoke of love and honesty. When Daniel said, "I do," a tear slipped down my cheek. But it wasn't joy. It was grief, because I knew the truth. And the hardest part of love is pretending you don't. By the time the music faded and the guests left, the night felt heavier than it should have. I smiled for photos, danced when they asked, laughed at jokes I didn't hear. But inside, I was somewhere else, between what love looked like and what it had become. Back in our suite, I slipped off my heels. He was in the bathroom humming. I stared at the mirror, a bride who didn't feel like a wife. My phone buzzed. Check his pocket. My hands shook as I reached for his jacket. Inside, a phone, not his. A woman's phone, rose gold, cracked screen, a photo of them on the lock screen. Daniel, and another woman, smiling, her head on his shoulder. Taken yesterday, my knees gave out. The shower stopped. He froze when he saw it. "Leah, please, it's not what it looks like." But the truth about lies is that you always know what they look like, because you've seen them in someone's eyes before they ever speak. "Who is she?" I asked. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Silence was enough to tell me everything. Some vows aren't broken. They were never meant to last. I didn't scream. I just left the room barefoot, still in my wedding dress. Outside, the rain had started again. It always seemed to know when hearts were breaking. Then my phone buzzed once more. "You deserve to know who she is." Her face appeared on my screen, soft eyes, familiar somehow. Her name tag read Elena. I'd seen her before. Daniel's assistant. The pieces fell together so easily it made me sick. Late nights, emergency meetings, lies dressed as hard work. By the time I reached the street corner, my dress was soaked, heavy with rain and regret. Another message. "She didn't know about you. She wasn't my enemy." He was. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I had made a decision. Not out of anger, but out of peace trying to be born inside the wreckage. I called the number. A woman's voice answered. "Leah? Yes, who are you?" "Elena. We met at a small cafe near the river." She looked younger than I remembered, too young to carry this kind of guilt. "I didn't know," she said. "He told me you were over." I watched her eyes, honest, terrified. I wanted to hate her. "But how do you hate someone standing in the same ruin as you?" "He lied to both of us," I said. She nodded, tears spilling. "I ended it," she whispered. The moment I found out, I believed her. We sat there for a long time, two strangers sharing the same heartbreak. When I left, she touched my hand. "Whatever you do next," she said softly, "make sure it's for you." Those words stayed with me longer than any vow I ever took. A week passed. I hadn't spoken to Daniel, not because I didn't have words, but because I finally understood silence could speak louder. The house still smelled like him. Cologne, coffee, ghosts. I spent nights staring at a blank page, trying to write something, not for him but for me. "Dear Daniel, I don't hate you. That would mean you still have that kind of power over me. You once said love was about forgiving quickly and holding on tight. But real love, I've learned, is knowing when to let go. You broke something in me, but maybe it needed to break. Maybe I needed to see who I was without you. I hope one day you learn to love without taking. And I hope one day I'll learn to trust without breaking. Goodbye. Leah." I folded the letter neatly and left it beside his keys. Then I opened the window. The wind caught the curtains, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel trapped. Peace doesn't always come from getting answers. Sometimes it comes from deciding the questions don't matter anymore. I didn't plan to see him again. But life has a way of testing whether you've really moved on. It was late afternoon when I saw him, outside the old coffee shop we used to visit. He looked almost the same. "Same jacket, same hands, only smaller, Leah," he said. "Do you hate me?" I shook my head. "No, I just finally love myself more." He swallowed hard. "I never meant to hurt you. I know," I said. "And that's what hurts the most." He looked like he might reach for me. But I stepped back, not out of anger, out of mercy. "I'm not angry anymore," I said. "I just don't belong in your story now." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I hope you find someone who deserves you." "I already have," I said. He looked confused. "Me." Then I turned and walked away. Not fast, not afraid, just free. Some stories don't end with anger. They end when the silence finally feels like peace. The first morning without him didn't feel like freedom. It felt like forgetting to breathe, but days passed. I learned to fill the quiet with small things, watering plants, walking by the river, smiling at strangers. Healing isn't a straight line. Some days I felt light, others I drowned in memories. But the difference was, I didn't stay there. One Sunday I sat at the cafe again, alone, but not lonely. I opened my journal and wrote, "I don't hate him. I just wish him peace." Because I finally found mine. Healing doesn't look like strength. It looks like quiet. It looks like showing up for yourself even when no one claps. That night I whispered to the dark, "I made it." And this time I meant it. It started with a cup of coffee. Not the kind that burns your tongue, the kind that reminds you you're still here. A man dropped his book. Our hands brushed. No spark, no destiny, just something calm. For once normal felt like peace. He smiled. "Guess I'm still learning to hold on to things." I laughed. A sound I hadn't heard from myself in a long time. When he left, he didn't ask for my number. He just said, "Maybe I'll see you here again." And for once, maybe didn't scare me, because love isn't supposed to save you. It's supposed to meet you once you've saved yourself. I looked at the letter in my journal, smiled and whispered, "Thank you for teaching me how to let go." Then I closed the book. And the past closed with it. A year later, I stood by the ocean, the one I used to dream about when everything hurt. Back then, it felt like freedom I'd never reach. Now, it just felt like home. The wind tangled my hair, and the waves whispered like an old friend, forgiving, endless. I closed my eyes, not for him, not for what was lost, but for everything I'd found. Sometimes I still think about Daniel, not as a wound, but as a chapter. He was the storm that broke me open, but he wasn't the one who rebuilt me. That was me. I opened my journal, the last page blank. I used to think endings were failures. But sometimes they're just quiet beginnings in disguise. I tore the page and let the wind take it, light as forgiveness. Behind me, the sun began to set, gold and violet. It didn't feel like the end of a story. It felt like the start of a gentler one, because maybe love isn't forever. Maybe it's just meant to teach us how to begin again. Some stories don't end with anger. They end when silence finally feels like peace. Because maybe love isn't forever. Maybe it's just meant to teach us how to begin again. This was Leah's story. Thank you for listening.